So when you want to use some codes which you want to reuse again and again and keep on accessing, right, that's where you would use something like a function, basically something similar to a proc statement in some other language, right? That's what a function is. And you'll be writing user defined functions which would basically replicate the functionalities which you would quite often use. Say for example, if there is some text data, right, a column which has some text string, say the name starts with the first and last, you want to separate the first and the last name, and you want to write a customized code for that. You'll write it once, but to make it usable again and again, you will do something which is called as functions, right? So we'll work around that. So the learning objectives for this session would be control and flow operators, how to make a script in R, writing functions in R, and finally creating a basic R package. So talking about control structures, so let's understand what really control structures are. So as you can see on the screen, it allows the control of execution of an R script basically inside a function, right? So commonly used control structures would be your if else statement, for loop, while loop, repeat, break, next, stop, and warning, right? These would be the basic control structures which you would be using as part of your function creation, which will help you to create a function itself. If and if else, right? So you have already used something like an if and if else functionality in Excel, wherein you give a certain parameter to be compared against some value. If it is true, then you do a set of things. If it is false, then you do a set of things, right? The same approach happens with this also, right? So you have an inbuilt if else function which we have used some time back, which does the same thing as what an Excel does. The if and the if else loop is a little bit different than that. That means you can do multiple things if a statement is true, right? So you can have one execution line and you can have hundreds of execution line if a condition is true. Let's have a look at this by actually doing this. So let's first create something like a vector which has value 7. So let's say x is a vector wherein I'm saying allocation of value 7, right? Have a look at this. So it has value 7. Now if I write something, now it makes more sense now to start using the code window rather than using the console, because you don't want to press an enter on your console, because if you press an enter then it becomes a new line, right, and it might create some problems. So you'll write most of your control structures and your functions inside the script window, and then you'll just do a one-time run by selecting the whole code. So I'm saying if, right, that's what I'm trying to do. If x is greater than 7, it's a condition. Or let's say if x is less than 10, this is a condition I'm checking, right? And I'm writing a loop over here, and I'm saying if it is so, then x is nothing but x plus 1. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying cat, and I'm saying over here increase x. That's just a statement, so it would be an output. Now if this is not correct, right, if also has an else, then I'm saying else statement. When I'm saying something like this, x is equal to x minus 1, and cat, I'm saying decrease x, right? That completes my functionality, right? I already given the value of x somewhere down as x is equal to 7, and when I do a run like this, okay, it's giving an error because, let me just check. Let's just bring this one over here. Tell R that I'm doing something like this. Control-D. Right, So what has happened is that the value of x which we have given was 8, right? Oh, we gave it 7, but every time we are running it's changing the value. So let me reallocate this to x value as 7, right? And then if I run this whole thing, so obviously x, if you can see, x is less than 10 is a true statement, right? So it will go in this first if loop, and it will say if it is less than 10, then do a x is equal to x plus 1. That means x is equal to 7 plus 1, and then you're saying the cat statement increase x, right? Else, if that's not the case, if it is actually less, if it's not less than 10, if it's the opposite, say for example 11, then it will say x is equal to x minus 1. That means you are decreasing the value, right? And that's what is happening, right? So you can say what has happened is that as a statement it shows that the value of x has been increased, right? So the initial value was 7, as you can see on this line, and the value has gone to 8, right? So this is how the if else works. We'll just carry around these lines so that we get a good feel about this. Similarly, you have a for loop also which does things iteratively, right? So I'm just going to overwrite it over here itself. So I'm saying the for functionality for I in, and I'm saying 1:10, that's a sequence of numbers, and then I'm saying -3, right? And I'm giving a statement over here. What is the execution I'm expecting? I'm saying print I comma I into I. So I'm just doing a square of that, right? Okay, let's execute this. So if we do this, so I will take value starting from the sequence 1 -3, so that will be what, -2. The second value would be 2 minus 3, right? 2 minus 3 is -1, so it's going in that sequence, right? So that's what you're seeing. So you go ahead and do something else. So you're creating something like a cars, a variable, and in that you're saving a couple of things, like for example Hyundai, it's a car name, and the second one you're saying let's keep a Tata, and the fourth one, say for example, could be an Honda, right? And then you're saying for J in cars, right? It's a loop you're writing. So for J in cars, right, you're writing a looping statement. Print paste J, and you're giving some kind of common text which has to come with this, the all variants, right? That's text you're saying, and separator that is mentioned by SCP is equal to with some space like this, and you finally close your code, right? So just use this now. So it has selected from that vector wherein Hyundai, Tata and Honda is there. So from J in cars, so it has 3 elements. Car has size of 3, so J in 1 to 3, that's how the algorithm understands it. Print the value of J, that will be from each of them. So J would be the first element, that is Hyundai, the second element would be Tata, and third element would be Honda, and just a dash and all variants, and you want these things to be separated by a space over here, right? Ideally, if you want to replace this with something else, say for example with something like this, then if you just correcting the spelling Hyundai, and then if you run this, so it will be separated by a colon as you have mentioned over here, right? Okay, so far so good. So let's go ahead and try to use it for the empty cars data. So I'm just saying Control A, delete data empty cars, right? So that's the data we have loaded, and then we are saying for vars, and vars is just a runtime variable and uh, looping index for names in empty cars. That's the object, and you're saying what functionality you just want to print. So you are just intending to print the column names over here. It will print all the variable name within that within that data set, right? So you can use it in this way also. So let's go ahead. Similarly, you have a while loop also, which doesn't work on the basis of index. It works on the basis of a condition, whether a value is greater than this, less than this, or equal to something like that. So you can say an I, which can be attributed a value of 2.999, right? So that's what you have said. And then you want to write a while loop wherein you are saying while I is less than or equal to 4.999. So that's the condition you're asking to be met. If it is so, then you're saying I is allocated a value of I plus 0.999, and then you can say print C I comma I minus 2 comma I into I. Obviously the value of I over here is 2.999, and it does satisfy the condition of being less than 4.99, so this should run through, right? And now if you check the value of I, it is what? It's 5. There is no return statement. For returning the values used, you'll have to use a print, right? So that's what we're using over here. Okay, just come out of this. Now there is a repeat loop also, so I'm just assigning the value of say 5 to A, and then I'm saying write a repeat loop, and the repeat I'm saying the functionality to be something like this: print value of A, that's the base, and then I'm incrementing the value of A plus 1. So every time it will keep on increasing it. If the value of A somewhere happens to be greater than 3, then you're saying just exit out of this, so you're saying a break, right? Or else it will just keep on continuing.